We are about halfway done with Unit 2, so that is exciting. You may be a little bit confused about why we did topic 5 on Monday and why we're skipping to topic 7. It's because topic 6 was about Malthusian theory, and I feel like we covered that pretty extensively in class last week, so I didn't think that we needed to cover it again. So we are moving on to topic 7, which I didn't put a slide of it. Topic 7 is on population policies. And we have discussed these a little bit. I don't remember on what topic we talked about them. Maybe topic 2. But we have discussed population policies a little bit. We're going to go into a little bit more detail with this short little lecture. So your objective for topic 7 is to explain the intent and effects of various population and immigration policies on population size and composition. So the first type of population policy we are going to look at is pronatalist policies. Pronatalist policies that promote the birth of babies. They give women reasons to have children, or they simply lessen reasons that they may choose not to have children. So maybe it's not necessarily a policy that's like, have babies, but it kind of takes away some of the reasons why women choose not to have children. And I'm going to give you some examples of those, like paid time off, pay for in-home support or new babies, pay for childcare. So, like paid time off. If I offered someone like paid time off to have a baby, that doesn't automatically make them be like, oh yes, I'm gonna have a baby this year. Like that doesn't happen. But one of the reasons that people maybe don't have children is because maybe they can't afford it. They can't afford to take off the so many weeks or to take off for the doctor's appointments. And so whenever you provide them paid time off, like maternity leave, maybe that kind of, it doesn't like super encourage them to like, yeah, have a baby, but it gives them like one less reason for not having one. Most pronatalist policies are found in like Western Europe and Japan, simply because they have like super low populations that they're trying to increase. And I found this really, it's a cool graph, but it's kind of depressing. These are places where the population, or no, these are places, um, it's showing different parts around the world and their paid maternity leave. So you can see that there are only like 3 places, one of them being the United States, that has no paid maternity leave. Now what this means, and I know some of you are probably thinking, well, like I know someone who like took maternity leave and she got paid. Well, that's because your employer can decide to give that to you as like one of their benefits, but like nationwide, it's not a government policy that places have to provide paid maternity leave. This is Eastern Europe, into Russia, and then there's Japan, that it was talking about where a lot of pronatalist policies are. They get 52 weeks or more in paid maternity leave. There's 52 weeks in a year, so they get a year or more in paid maternity leave. Canada, other parts of Europe get 26 to 51 weeks. So that's like 6 months to a year. Orange gets less than 14 weeks. Yellow, 14 to 25, and red is no paid maternity leave. So, not a whole lot of pronatalist policies as far as maternity leave for the United States. But like it says down here, you can see a lot of that in Eastern Europe and Russia. So, the opposite of pronatalist policies that are put in place to increase the fertility rate, obviously that would be anti-natalist policies. These tend to take more extreme forms. um, because you're pretty much telling someone like what they can't do, which is always more extreme than telling someone like what they should do. So policies that discourage having children are anti-natalist policies, typically seen in countries in stages 2 or 3 of the demographic transition model to prevent overpopulation. Because remember, in those stages, the birth rate is still high, but the death rate drops significantly because of increases in medical technology. And so they see a really high increase in population pretty quickly. Um, and so that's why these policies are typically seen in those countries. But they can take many forms. It's states promoting family planning with less restrictions on contraceptives. China's one child and two child policies, which you're probably most familiar with. But one you may not be as familiar with is India's sterilization program. And they found out this was literally going on a few years ago. But what they did at first was give men like loans or guns, money to have a vasectomy. And so they would do that. Then all of a sudden it turned into just trying to lessen the population of like poor people, people that they felt, maybe shouldn't reproduce because we don't need any more people like that. And so then it turned into like taking women and performing surgeries on them so that they did not have any more children. And these were done in like concentration camp type places. Very, very, very heinous things. But it started just as an attempt to decrease the population. I think it's tomorrow, Thursday, you'll have an opportunity to learn more about that if you're interested. But that's an extreme version of an anti-natalist policy. Other policies that influence population, immigration policies. I think I said that wrong. I meant to say other policies that influence population. So we have anti-natalist policies, pronatalist policies, and immigration policies. Because remember, the three main things that influence a population are birth rates, death rates, and migration. So if people are going in or out. We're talking about immigration with an I here. So these are policies about people coming in. So states or countries, states as in countries, can set up policies that make it easier or harder for people to immigrate into their territory. Kind of depending on one factor is, do we have room for these people, right? So policies encouraging immigration. The Homestead Act of 1862, that was in the United States. So what was happening there was the U.S. government wanted to settle the West because we had just acquired, territory over to the West. People wanted to settle it, manifest destiny. And so they were offering like 160 acres for free if people would just go live on it for 5 years. And that actually influenced a lot of immigrants to come to the United States to get free land and to start a new life there. The United States also has visas to educated migrants and hope that they will stay. Guest worker programs, allowing refugees to migrate quickly in emergency situations. And then family reunification programs where a guest worker may come over and after they work a certain amount of time, then they're allowed to like sponsor family members and bring them over. And those are all policies that encourage immigration. Policies discouraging immigration are policies that maybe require certain educational standards for an immigrant to move to a place, setting quotas, so limiting the number of people that are allowed in, like per year. These policies can stem from what's called xenophobia, which is a strong dislike of people who practice another culture. And they can also stem from a fear that immigrants will take jobs. One country that really discourages immigration is Japan, and theirs is an attempt to preserve their cultural homogeneity. Yeah, that word's so hard to say. Homogeneity. So Japan prides themselves on being Japanese, and keeping their Japanese culture pure. And so they really don't like outsiders coming in and like messing up their gene pool per se. Now that doesn't mean like you're not allowed to go there, but they really restrict their immigration specifically. So those are the three types of policies that do influence um, fertility rates, which influences population, and then immigration policies that influence, the amount of people that are adding to the population, not through like the natural increase, but through migration. So go ahead and summarize these notes and move on to the next topic.